around in the clouds. Push very firmly, very firmly. We're trying to push this color right into the fabric. And you just decide where you want little bumps to live. See, there's one. Wherever you want them. Maybe there's a happy little thing lives right there. Scrape off all the excess paint. Just really get in there and scrape hard. You can't hurt this. Just scrape it off. The only thing we're worried about is this nice outside edge. In here, we could care less. Now then, with a 2-inch brush, I want to grab this. And because of the liquid white, the canvas is wet, you can pull this and move it. And just move it. Remember, if you can see the entire mountain, it's always more distinct at the top than it is at the bottom. And by doing this, that will happen automatically. Just like so. See, just let it sort of float off in the sky there. There we go. Because this is a very firm paint, you can blend right over it. Okay, now then, maybe there's some snow on that little mountain. So we can take some titanium white and once again, pull it out as flat as you can get it. Just really pull it out. Then go across, get that little roll of paint. See, there he is. Tiny little roll of paint. Let's go up here. Okay, now then, right along in here. Take the point of the knife, put it right up at the top of the mountain. No pressure. Just let it float. Just let it float right down the side of the mountain here. No pressure. See, follow the angles in your mountain. Absolutely no pressure. Okay, maybe right here. Think where light would strike. Think where the sun would shine through here and create all these beautiful little effects. And if you're right-handed, it's normally easier for the light to come from the right side. Normally easier. See? Very delicate touch, though. Very delicate. Very, very delicate. This is a time when the little knife would come in even better. So you can get back here with a little knife and get these little places. That little son of a gun just sneaks right in there. Either knife works very well. They both have the straight edges and they work very good. Take a little bit of blue and white. This is a little phthalo blue. Just a touch. Just a touch. Mix it up about like so. That's good. Cut across, and once again we have that small roll of paint right out on the edge of the knife, so you can see it's right on the end. There you go. Now then, decide which peaks farthest away. If this one's in the background, put a shadow behind this one first. Just a little tiny shadow. Then a shadow here. Let it come down distinctly through. See there? Distinctly through. No pressure at all. Think in your mind that the only thing touching the canvas is that little tiny roll of paint. And each little highlight needs a shadow. If it doesn't have a shadow, it won't come out and play with you. It'll just leave you. Just leave you stranded. Okay, now then. Sometimes it's fun to play some games. All right, clean dry brush. I'm going to tap the base of this, following the angles. I want to create mist. Now lift upward very softly. 3 hairs and some air over here. Follow these angles. Lift, lift, blend. See, it just softens that son of a gun right down there. Okay, now then. Maybe, see, you can change your mind. Now, maybe there's a peak that lives right here. And if we want to make this one look like it's in front of that, by diffusing that first and then bringing a line distinctly down, it'll push all that back. But that little misty area is the only thing that separates those. So cherish it. It's your good friend. Maybe this, shoot, look here. You can take this anywhere you want it to go. Anywhere you want it to go. But notice all the angles of highlight or light color are in the same basic direction. Same basic direction. because light's only going to strike at a given angle coming through here. Sing! Pretend you're a sunbeam, just wandering around here and having fun. Okay, now we need a shadow back here. Everywhere there's a highlight, we have to have a shadow, just a little shadow. Just a little happy shadow. It lives right back here. See how that pops right out? Comes your friend. It's easy. Just a few little rules. Mountains are just geometric shapes. Highlights and shadows. And you can make some of the most fantastic mountains you've ever seen. What's great for practice and to give you experience is just take a canvas and start at the top, paint mountains from top to bottom. And you will learn more. Oh, it's a super way to practice. And by the time you're finished, you'll be good friends with the knife. Okay, tapping the base, following those angles again. Now, you want to save that one line right there. That's a distinct line that separates these two entities. Save that. Lift upward, very gently. Whisper light. You don't want to destroy, you just want to diffuse. Over here, follow these angles. Save this line. That's a distinct line that you need. Give it a little blend. And you've got one very effective, yet very easy little mountain, and I knew you could do it. Tell you what, let's have some little footy hills that live right in here. For that, let's mix up some color. Shoot, we had this mountain color. That was just some Prussian blue and some midnight black. We'll put some Van Dyke brown, alizarin crimson, just a little touch of sap green. Don't want too much sap green. I'm going to reach over here and find some white. And let's see what we got here. You got to put a little white with it to know what you have. It's very difficult to tell. A little more blue in there. Oh yeah. Just sort of play with the color till it gets like you want it. I'm looking for a color that sort of a bluish gray, maybe with at least a little hint of green. It's too far away to have much green. Okay, now we can lift it up like so. Okay, let me clean the knife. And today, I tell you what, let's do. Let's use a 1-inch brush, and I'll just go right into that and just pull it through, just to load a little paint on it. Like so, just like so. Okay, let's go up to the canvas. Now you have to make a big decision here. Where's your little foothills live? Maybe let's start right in here. Maybe just using the corner of the brush. Maybe they just come right down. Here they come. Wherever you want them. And just sort of pull it straight down. See? Turn it over and use the other corner. If one gets empty, you can turn it over. Just pull straight down. But very important here. See this little misty area right in here? You want to save that mist that's between the foothill and the mountain. If you kill that misty area, these foothills are going to look like they're right up against the mountain. You don't want that. Okay. Now then, time to wash your brush. I've put off washing the brushes till I'm about to run out. Give them a good shake. And just beat the devil out of it. Now, I want to create mist at the base of this foothill. So here, all we're going to do
boom, and we're live. Hey, great to see a guy who just because he's filming you. When he's filming you, he's allowed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's you. This is like an audition for you to keep your job.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Like, do a good job right there. Because you're gonna get on the internet right now. And there's a lot of people that are on the internet. There was a fucking horrible one that I watched where this guy was in this verbal altercation with this woman, and it wasn't heated. She didn't do anything wrong, and he's yelling. She's not listening, so he grabs her, ragdolls her to the ground, face plants her, and gets her in a rear naked choke, and he's screaming at her. And he's a terrible rear naked choke too. And these other people are standing by watching this and filming it, and it's fucking madness.
Yeah.
This is a terrible way to handle the situation. Just a person who's either got PTSD or he's all fucked up. And my buddy Joe Schilling,
just a shitty person.
Just a shitty person who happens to get this job. Now, guess what? Here's the other problem. Who's going to be a cop now?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Who's going to be a cop now?
I'm going to be honest with you. I wouldn't want to be a cop right now.
I wouldn't want to be a cop now. Fuck, man.
Nah.
Can only imagine.
And I think the problem is, it's like people don't understand, like, the relationship between community and the police should be a symbiotic relationship. That's what it should be.
Yes.
Because even to the same degree, there needs to be training. I think there needs to be training, not mandated training, but people should be cognizant, especially if I as a gun owner, someone who carries a gun on me 99% of the time, in my car, on my body, on my person. I should understand the dynamics that a police officer is looking at me from and dealing with people who carry guns, and vice versa. So the officer needs to understand and be aware of the fact that, okay, you're living in a population where people carry firearms. So the idea or the presence of a firearm in the hands of a civilian should not terrify you that much. It just shouldn't. Now, I get it. There are bad apples all over the place. Thus, that brings it full circle. Me as a citizen should understand that because there are certain people who are bad apples, who carry firearms, that are interacting with the cops, and may want to do ill will towards the cops, that I as a citizen should understand and have the responsibility that says, all right, there are certain things I'm going to do whenever I'm interacting with the cop that signals to them, hey, I don't mean you no harm, I mean you no threat. I get pulled over, the first thing I do is I pull over, roll the windows down, I have my ID, and I have my concealed carry license in hand, right? Everything I'm doing is just to put the cop at ease.
Right.
I'm demonstrating to the cop, look, I understand. You don't know who I am. I don't know who you are.
Right.
So we're going to give each other this mutual respect that says, all right, as long as you respect me, I'm going to respect you. And generally speaking, I speed a lot.
Do you get cops recognizing you?
I have. It's like 50-50.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
50-50 is a lot.
It is a lot, actually. And the funny thing is, the best time was I was in a car at the time. I was in the car with my ex at the time. Well, she was my girlfriend, my then girlfriend, and then one of her best friends, and we were driving back from Houston. And so I was speeding. And so I think I had like M6 at the time. And so I was speeding, and he was like, you need to slow down. I'm like, well, shut up. So going. And then I get pulled over. And they're laughing. They're like, ha, ha, we told you, you idiot. Ha, 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 ha. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I got egg on my face and shit. And the cop comes over, and he's like, yeah, I do what I normally do, roll the windows down, hand him my driver's license. He goes runs my information. He's like, there might be a weird question, but are you Chloe on the wire? I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, man, I thought it was you.
Well, this is why it's a question, because your ID is different, because your real name
my
is
real name is Collins.
Right.
But
do you give out your real name?
I give out my real first name. I don't give out my last name because I don't want to have to shoot anybody. I'm being dead serious. I mean, I get a lot of weird stuff. So,
I'm sure.
Yeah, and I mean, look, if you want to find my real name, you can find it. You can pull up on Wikipedia.
Right.
But I don't want to make it easy for you. But I mean, if you want to have those problems, have at it. But and I've had people threaten me before.
Over what?
Just my stance and things like that. And I've had people
threatening you for your stance on responsible gun ownership.
That's the funny
so they
thing.
want to shoot you.
I don't understand. It's so ridiculous. I don't understand it. But I mean, there are a lot of psychos out there.
Yeah,
and even anti-gunners can be psychos.
I've had this conversation about you with people that are not gun owners, that don't like guns, and I said, listen, there are people out there like yourself that are the best example of what you would hope for a gun owner, and if that's your fucking neighbor, you should be happy that guy's armed. If some shit goes down, you need someone to help you. You want people to be able to help themselves. But
it's like that in my neighborhood.
I think people are going to have a different attitude about this with all this defund the police talk. I really do. And the looting and and not only that, but here in Santa Monica, they have police, right? The police are there, and they were told to stand down. They were told to stand there while people are looting. I think another thing too, I think there is a semantics issue going on with the defund the police, at least from what I'm seeing. Because initially, when I heard about the defund the police, I'm like, what the hell are y'all talking about? Like, we can't be this stupid. I guess there is a segment. It's even within the defund the police, there are different sects. There are the people who are like, no, we just need to reallocate certain portions of the funding for police in different places. And then there are people who are like, no, we just need to absolve all police, take away the funding, and get rid of them. Those people are out of their fucking minds.
But here's the funny thing about that. Let's take what's going on in Seattle, right?
Yeah.
In Chaz.
Yeah.
How fast do we realize within a blink of an eye that crime is going to happen? It doesn't matter what type of utopia you think you're going to establish. There are going to be messed up people.
Well, someone got shot there yesterday.
And from what I hear, it was pretty much a hit.
Was it?
I think not the one from yesterday, but the one before that, because there was another shooting.
Oh, God.
And apparently it seemed like it was a hit. Like they were looking for this person and they went to kill them. And I'm like, you were supposed to, Chaz was supposed to be this utopia.
Right.
No cops, no money, all of it. And within a blink of an eye, what do you have?
Well, no.
Lord of the Flies.
They also don't have hospitals in Chaz, right? Like, what are you going to do if someone does get shot? I mean,
well, apparently somebody bled out because
the cops probably don't want to go in there.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't let him in.
Oh, God.
From what I saw, yeah. And
this is not going to end well, folks.
It's not.
It's not going to end well. The way to handle this, in my opinion, is to fix the current structure, to do it in a logical way that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not to take everything down. So to take this back to what you were saying about Black Lives Matter, don't you think there's probably people in Black Lives Matter who don't have these sort of Marxist ideas?
Yes.
They just don't want black people getting shot by cops.
Absolutely. Yeah. The sentiment of Black Lives Matter, I am all for it. I'm all for it. The organization, though, that's the problem I have, because they're essentially the leadership of this.
So you think that the leadership has...
I think they have ulterior motives.
Secret motive that the people that are involved, that are doing all the groundwork, probably aren't even aware of. No, they're not. And I did a whole video about it. Yeah.
Because I remember Black Lives Matter, and it was a video I did, I think, 2 years ago. And this is when I was with the NRA, and Black Lives Matter was attacking the NRA, basically saying that they don't really care about black gun ownership, so forth and so on. It was like an attack piece. And I think it was the branch of Black Lives Matter that's here in LA, actually. And so I did a response video. And it was like a 15, 20-minute video. And I broke it down systematically. I'm like, all right, well, okay, we started off with Black Lives Matter because of police brutality. Cool, I'm all for it. But what has happened now? All of a sudden, they get this massive wave of funding, and their whole direction shifts into some other stuff that I have no idea what it has to do with anything.
Like what?
With respect to, now it's become this kind of like all-encompassing umbrella of LGBTQ and some other stuff, but then and then even aspects of, I guess, I don't want to say Antifa is under the umbrella, but the whole Marxist kind of communist socialist aspects of politics kind of creeping into that as well. And then when you couple that with the idea that you have the actual founders saying that they're trained in Marxism, and then you have what you see now playing out, where you have these very peaceful protests being co-opted by violent people who are now just engaging in rioting and looting and then branding it Black Lives Matter. They're wolves hiding amongst sheep.
I think there's a bunch of things happening at the same time, and I think when it comes to the rioting and looting, I think there's a lot of just opportunists.
No,
absolutely. I don't think they're necessarily that organized.
Some of it is organized.
Some of
I
it
do
maybe,
believe that, and then
maybe.
I do, and you're right, because there was, like for instance, in Dallas, one of the coffee shops that I go to all the time, he was telling me, he was like, all the windows were broken out, and really, he was like, they really was just a bunch of kids just running around taking advantage of the chaos and just kind of breaking windows.
You have to take into consideration these kids haven't worked in 3 months.
Yeah.
They're probably broke as fuck and looking for free shit.
Yep.
There's a ton of them. And there's just opportunists, man. You saw that in New York for sure.
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
New York,
I'm pretty sure y'all had that here too.
yeah, for sure. But the crazy thing about New York is a lot of it was apartment buildings filming down on the streets because, in New York, everyone's in
high rises.
So they're filming